morning. All of you must have studied permanent mandibular first molar. I have also posted the steps for carving of mandibular first molar. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me on the online link which you have prepared for your class. Today we discuss permanent mandibular second molar. You have to directly compare permanent mandibular second molar with the permanent mandibular first molar. First, I will let you know the general differences between the first molar and the second molar. Size wise, mandibular second molar is smaller than the first molar in all dimensions. That means cervico-occlusal length of the crown is less than the first molar. Also the mesiodistal dimension is less than the first molar. Buccolingual dimension is also less than the first molar, and the length of the root is also less than the first molar, right? So in all dimensions, the second molar is generally smaller than the first molar. Then the number of cusps. First molar, as you know, it is having 5 cusps, 2 buccal, 2 lingual and a distal cusp. Whereas the second molar is having only 4 cusps. There is no 5th cusp or the distal cusp. Right? So it is having only 4 cusps, that is the 2 buccal cusps and 2 lingual cusps. 2 buccal cusps are mesiobuccal cusp and the distobuccal cusp. 2 lingual cusps are mesiolingual cusp and the distolingual cusp. There is no 5th cusp or the distal cusp. So by this feature, you can easily differentiate between the first molar and the second molar. So there are only 4 cusps, that is the main differentiating feature. If you compare mesiodistal dimension with the buccolingual dimension, then it is similar to that of the first molar. That means the mesiodistal dimension is greater than the buccolingual dimension. The difference is only 1 millimeter, right? So if you compare the mesiodistal and the buccolingual dimension of the crown, then which dimension is more? Mesiodistal dimension. So mesiodistal dimension is greater than the buccolingual dimension and the difference is only 1 millimeter. Now we see the differences from all aspects. From the buccal aspect, you can see 4 cusps. In first molar, you can see 5 cusps. In second molar, you can see 4 cusps. The 2 buccal cusps are in foreground and the 2 lingual cusps are in background, right? Because the buccal cusps are flat and at a lower level, and the lingual cusps are sharp and at a higher level, right? So it is true for all mandibular molars, first molar, second molar, third molar, that the buccal cusps are at a lower level and flattened. The lingual cusps are at a higher level and sharp, right? So from buccal aspect, you can see all 4 cusps in mandibular second molar. In first molar, you can see 5 cusps, right? So that is the difference. You can see that the buccal cusps are flat, the lingual cusps are sharp and higher. Between the 2 buccal cusps, you can see one developmental groove. that is the buccal developmental groove, right? So this buccal developmental groove, it is placed exactly in the center mesiodistally. That means the mesiodistal width of the mesiobuccal cusp and the mesiodistal width of the distobuccal cusp is almost equal. Right? So this buccal developmental groove is exactly placed in center mesiodistally. It is a very short groove and it ends in the middle of the middle one-third cervico-occlusal. Right? And it usually ends in a pit. Remember, in first molar, from buccal aspect, you can see two grooves. One on the mesial side, that is mesiobuccal developmental groove, separating the mesiobuccal cusp and the distobuccal cusp, and another on the distal side, that is distobuccal developmental groove, separating the distobuccal cusp and the distal cusp. Here in case of second molar, only one groove is seen as there is no distal cusp, so only one groove is seen, that is the buccal developmental groove. In first molar, from the buccal aspect, you can see two grooves separating the three cusps. Here only two cusps, so only one groove is seen, right? Between the mesiobuccal cusp and the distobuccal cusp, that is the buccal developmental groove, right? So only one groove is seen from the buccal aspect in second molar, whereas in case of first molar you can see two grooves, that is mesiobuccal and the distobuccal developmental groove. In second molar only one groove, that is the buccal developmental groove. Okay. So by this feature again you can differentiate between the first molar and the second molar easily. Right? Rest of the things are same. You can see two roots, mesial root, distal root, but these two roots are more distally inclined. The distal inclination of the roots is more as compared to first molar. These two roots, mesial root and the distal root, they are more distally inclined. Right? So that is again the difference between the first molar and the second molar. As a result of more distal inclination of the roots, the apex of the mesial root, it is in line with the buccal developmental groove. In case of second molar, as a result of more distal inclination of the roots, the apex of the mesial root, it is in line with the buccal developmental groove. Whereas in case of first molar, the apex of the mesial root will be here. That is in line with the mesiobuccal cusp. So that is the difference in location of the apex of the mesial root. Why there is change in position of the apex of the mesial root? It is because of the more distal inclination of the roots. Likewise, the apex of the distal root, it is more distally placed as compared to the first molar. The apex of the first molar will be here, then the apex of the second molar will be here. More distal shifting of the apex of the mesial root and the distal root will be there in case of second molar, and that is because of more distal inclination of the roots. Now from the lingual aspect, only two cusps are seen. This is mesiolingual cusp and this is distolingual cusp. The mesiolingual cusp is higher, distolingual cusp is at a lower level. So by this feature you can easily identify the mesial side and the distal side. The cusp which is higher is mesiolingual, the cusp which is at a lower level is distolingual. The cervical line is more irregular from the lingual aspect and is more occlusally placed as compared to cervical line on the buccal side. So there is increase in length of the root trunk. The length of the root trunk increases. That is similar to the first molar, right? Again, the two roots which are more distally inclined and the buccal part of the mesial root. This is the buccal part of the mesial root. It is visible from the lingual aspect. Between the two lingual cusps, there is another developmental groove. This is the lingual developmental groove. Here you can see that all four cusps, their width is equal. Their mesiodistal width is almost equal. So lingual developmental groove, again it is very short groove and it again ends in the middle 1/3 portion. But usually it fades out. Usually there is no pit formation. The buccal developmental groove, it usually forms a pit. Whereas the lingual developmental groove, near its termination, it becomes shallow and there is no pit formation. Now from mesial and distal aspect, first we describe the mesial aspect. Mesial aspect is almost similar to the first molar. The only difference is this buccal cervical ridge. Buccal cervical ridge in case of second molar, it is less prominent, whereas it is more prominent in first molar, right? So buccal cervical ridge is less prominent in second molar, it is more prominent in first molar. The root portion is more buccally inclined. The apex is more towards the buccal side, and this is the part of the distal root. This is the part of the distal root which is seen from the buccal side. It is seen from the buccal side. So part of the distal root, it is visible from the buccal side, and this is the portion of the apex of the distal root. This is the portion of the apex of the distal root which is visible from the lingual side. Right? So this, apart from this is the portion of the mesial root. This is mesial surface of the mesial root. The distal surface of the mesial root is hidden behind. This is the portion of the distal root which is visible from the buccal aspect. This is apex of the distal root which is visible from the lingual aspect. On the mesial surface of the mesial root, the developmental depression is visible. That is similar to the first molar. You can see that the lingual cusps are higher. The buccal cusps are at a lower level. Right? So that is the characteristic feature of all mandibular molars. When you see from the mesial and the distal aspect, the lingual cusps are at a higher level and buccal cusps are at a lower level. Similarly, the cervical line lingually at a higher level, cervical line buccally at a lower level. The crown is rhomboidal, that is similar to the first molar. From mesial and the distal aspect, the crown is rhomboidal, leaning towards the lingual side. That is the characteristic feature of all mandibular posterior teeth. All mandibular posterior teeth, their crown is leaning towards the lingual side from the proximal aspect. From the distal aspect, more of the occlusal surface is visible because the distal marginal ridge is placed at a lower level. The curvature of the cervical line is less as compared to the mesial side. Here no distal cusp is visible from the distal aspect. First molar, you can see the distal cusp and the distobuccal developmental groove from the distal aspect. Here in case of second molar, as there is no distal cusp, so it is not visible on the distal surface, and also the distobuccal developmental groove, it is also not visible from the distal aspect, right? So the only difference is more of the occlusal surface is visible as compared to the mesial aspect, and the distal contact area is buccolingually centered. Distal contact area is buccolingually centered, and cervico-occlusally it is at the junction of the middle 1/3 and the occlusal one. On the distal surface of the distal root, the developmental depression is present. This is the portion of the mesial root and its apex. So portion of the mesial root and its apex is visible from the buccal side. The portion of the mesial root and its apex is visible from the buccal side. Now we discuss the occlusal aspect. The occlusal aspect, from the occlusal aspect you can clearly differentiate between the first molar and the second molar. From the number of cusps only. The number of cusps in first molar it is 5. The number of cusps in second molar it is 4. Right? So this is mesiobuccal cusp. This is distobuccal cusp. This is mesiolingual cusp, and this is distolingual cusp. Right? So there are 4 cusps on the occlusal surface. The geometric outline it is rectangular. Mesiodistal dimension is greater than the buccolingual dimension. All 4 cusps are of almost equal width. Between these 4 cusps, you can see the developmental grooves. The buccal cusps are separated from the lingual cusp by a central developmental groove. This is central developmental groove. The mesiobuccal cusp is separated from the distobuccal cusp by a buccal developmental groove. The mesiolingual cusp is separated from the distolingual cusp by a lingual developmental groove. Here there is a fossa in the center, central fossa, where all these grooves meet at the depth of the central fossa. They will form a pit, central pit. The central developmental groove from central pit extends towards the medial side, where it is joined by the 2 grooves. one coming from the mesiobuccal side, this is mesiobuccal groove. One coming from the mesiolingual side is mesiolingual groove, and they form a pit in the triangular fossa. This is mesial triangular fossa, and the pit present in the mesial triangular fossa is mesial pit. Similarly, the central developmental groove from the central pit extends towards the distal side, where it is joined by other two developmental grooves. This is distobuccal developmental groove, and this is distolingual developmental groove. Again, the junction of this groove is a pit, distal pit, present in the distal triangular fossa. This is medial marginal ridge and this is distal marginal ridge, right? Now the anatomy of the cusp. All of you know the anatomy of the cusp. This is mesiobuccal cusp, and these are the cuspal ridges. This is mesial cusp ridge. This is distal cusp ridge of mesiobuccal cusp, and this is triangular ridge of mesiobuccal cusp. And on the buccal surface there will be buccal ridge of the mesiobuccal cusp, right? On either side of the ridges, or you can say that between the two cuspal ridges, the area of the cusp is flat and inclined. So these are the inclined planes. Likewise, this is distobuccal cusp. This is tip of the distobuccal cusp, and these are the cuspal ridges of the distobuccal cusp going in a different directions. This is medial cusp ridge, this is distal cusp ridge, this is triangular ridge, and on the buccal surface there will be buccal ridge. But less of the buccal surface is visible on the distobuccal side. More of the buccal surface is visible on the mesiobuccal side. This is known as mesiobuccal prominence. Mesiobuccal prominence. Particularly the cervical ridge, buccal cervical ridge on the mesiobuccal part is more prominent, right? So mesiobuccal area is more prominent as compared to the distobuccal area. Also, you can note the difference in location of these cuspal ridges. The cuspal ridges of the distobuccal cusp is more buccally placed as compared to cuspal ridges of the mesiobuccal cusp. Which cuspal ridges? The mesial and distal cuspal ridges of the distobuccal cusp is placed more buccally as compared to mesial and distal cuspal ridges of mesiobuccal cusp, right? So that is important difference between the first molar and the second molar. Now this is mesiolingual cusp. This is tip of the mesiolingual cusp. This is medial cusp ridge of the mesiolingual cusp. This is distal cusp ridge of the mesiolingual cusp. This is triangular ridge, and these are the inclined planes. This is distolingual cusp. This tip of the distolingual cusp. This is mesial cusp ridge, and this is distal cusp ridge of the distolingual cusp, and this is triangular ridge, and these are the inclined planes. Now these two triangular ridges, the triangular ridge of the mesiobuccal cusp and the triangular ridge of the mesiolingual cusp, they meet each other, crossing the occlusal surface transversely, forming the transverse ridge. Similarly, the triangular ridge of the distobuccal cusp and the triangular ridge of the distolingual cusp, they meet each other, crossing the occlusal surface transversely in a buccolingual direction, forming the transverse ridge. Right? So there are two transverse ridges. Again, there are more number of supplemental grooves as compared to first molar, making the occlusal surface very rough and wrinkled. Right? So the number of supplemental grooves, the supplemental grooves arise from the developmental groove and they radiate on the cusps. So more number of supplemental grooves are present on the occlusal surface, making the occlusal surface rough as compared to first molar. The buccal surface inclined towards the distal side, but there is more inclination of the buccal surface towards the distal side as compared to first molar. In first molar also, the buccal surface inclination is towards the distal side. Second molar also there is inclination towards the distal side, but in second molar there is more inclination. The lingual surface also inclined towards the distal side. Again there is more inclination towards the distal side. Right? So both buccal and the lingual surface is inclined towards the distal side, but inclination is more as compared to first molar. Mesial and the distal surface is inclined towards the lingual side, but their inclination towards the lingual side is less as compared to first molar. Right? Buccal and lingual surface is inclined towards the distal side, but their inclination towards the distal is more as compared to first molar. Mesial and distal surface is inclined towards the lingual side, but their inclination is less as compared to first molar. Right? So these are the differences between the first molar and the second molar. The steps for carving remain the same. Only difference in carving is you have to prepare 4 cusps. Instead of 5 cusps, you have to prepare 4 cusps. And the number of grooves, 1 less groove you have to prepare. Right? First molar, mesiobuccal groove and the distobuccal groove on the buccal side. In second molar, only 1 groove separating the 2 buccal cusps. Right? So that is the only difference. The rest of the things are same in carving also. Right? Now the third molar. All of you know that third molar, it is the most variable tooth. You can see developmental variations, that is the anomalies in case of third molar. Generally, the size of the third molar is less than that of the first molar and the second molar. But it may be larger than the first molar and third molar. Right? So the size is also variable. Generally, it is smaller, but you may see larger size third molar as compared to first molar and the second molar. Dimension wise, the cervico-occlusal dimension of the third molar, it is less than that of the first molar and the second molar. Also mesiodistal dimension and the buccolingual dimension is less than that of the first molar and the second molar, and the root length of the root, it is also less than that of the first molar and the second molar. Third molar, in majority of the cases it resembles the second molar. that is having 4 cusps and 2 roots, mesial and the distal root, right? But in some cases it may resemble the first molar. That means having 5 cusps, 2 buccal cusp, 2 lingual cusp and a distal cusp, and 2 roots, mesial and the distal root. Now, although it may resemble second molar, it may resemble first molar, but still you can find some differences between this first molar, second molar and the third molar. As you go from first molar to third molar, the cervico-occlusal length of the crown decreases. As you go from first molar to third molar, the mesiodistal dimension decreases. As you go from first molar to third molar, the buccolingual dimension decreases. As you go from first molar to third molar, the buccal inclination of the buccal surface, towards the distal side increases. As you go from first molar to third molar, the inclination of the lingual surface towards the distal side increases. As you go from first molar to third molar, the inclination of the mesial and the distal surfaces towards the lingual side decreases. As you go from first molar to third molar, the distal inclination of the root increases. The distal inclination of the root increases, right? As you go from first molar to third molar, on the distal side, when you see the crown from the distal side, more of the occlusal surface is visible on the distal side, right? And the distal marginal ridge is placed more cervically. Distal marginal ridge in first molar, it is placed more occlusally. In second molar, it is little bit cervical to the first molar, and in third molar it is more cervically placed, right? So the distal marginal ridge is more cervically placed as compared to first molar and the second molar in third molar, right? So as you go from first molar to third molar, the distal marginal ridge is more cervically placed, exposing more occlusal surface from the distal aspect. And more number of supplemental grooves are present in third molar. That means as you go from first molar to third molar, the number of supplemental groove increases. The third molar's occlusal surface is very rough and wrinkled as compared to second molar, because of presence of more number of supplemental grooves, right? So these are the main differences between the first molar, second molar and the third molar, right? So this completes all of your mandibular molars. I have said the steps for carving of the first molar. You have to carve the second molar according to the steps of the carving of the first molar only. Only difference is you have to prepare only 4 cusps, right? You don't have to carve the third molar. You have to carve only up to the second molar, right? Thank you.